How would you like to start beating insomnia tonight? I'm going to teach you specific tools, strategies, and techniques to defeat insomnia. Now, the first thing that we need to understand is, what is insomnia? Well, insomnia is when you can't sleep at night. I think you know that. It's a pretty common phrase. But what truly is insomnia? What causes it? What are the effects? Let's look at that. And then we're going to get into specific tools, strategies, and techniques for how to defeat this thing. But first, we have to know our enemy. So make sure you watch all the way through to the end. The sleep you save may be your own. So, what causes insomnia? It's basically a stress disorder. So you're getting too anxious, you're getting too stressed, too depressed, too many worries going through your head. You're getting hyperstimulated and you can't go to sleep. So this is particularly bad because it wears you down. And there's a few things about sleep that a lot of people don't realize. When you go to sleep at night, you're not just healing your body and resting and regenerating like everybody knows that you do. Beyond that, you're replacing the neurochemicals. And people that have anxiety and depression and, addiction and things like that, things that are very stressful, they burn through a lot of neurochemicals, especially the feel-good chemicals and the chemicals that help you sleep, paradoxically, right? So once you start sleeping better at night, these neurochemicals will go up instead of down. So you're not just tired because you're tired, you're also tired and worn out and all this added stress because your neurochemicals are dropping. So it's like you got the problem of not being able to sleep, and then you get more and more tired, and then you lose the neurochemicals, and this thing just spirals. Insomnia can also be diagnostic. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm glad you asked. It means that some of you out there, probably the 80 percentile, you know that you've got some kind of secondary mental disorder. So you don't have what's called primary insomnia, where you got insomnia and that's it. You probably have secondary insomnia even when you think you got primary insomnia. You actually probably have a secondary mental disorder and don't know it. You could have low-level depression, low-level anxiety. You might be an alcohol abuser, but you don't think you have an addiction problem. You go, hey, I can quit anytime I want, and yet you don't. So there's lots of different mental disorders. If I open up the DSM-4, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, you'll see that they're disorders because they cause major stress in your life, and that causes sleep disturbance. So you may have a secondary disorder. Chances are, if you have insomnia, typical people can have it that don't have a disorder, but probably 60, 70, might be as high as 80%, I'd have to look through the research literature, could have a mental disorder going on, so you might want to look into that. Next thing is, there's something called REM, rapid eye movement. When you sleep at night, your eyes flutter. You've probably seen this. Most people know what REM is, but do you know what it does? It's not just your eyes fluttering, you're dreaming. And I'll tell you, I thought I didn't dream for years. I went like 20 years once with only 1 or 2 dreams. So I said, I never dream. No. I learned in my psychology classes that you dream every single night. The question is, do you remember it or not? So some people have vivid dreams. Some people can even manipulate their dreams a little bit. They have what they call lucid dreaming. Other people like me, they just forget it. And therefore, it's as if it never happened. But anytime you see the eyes fluttering, and every human being does this every single night, yeah, you're dreaming. So I made a mistake. I was wrong. Ask my wife. She'll tell you I'm wrong all the time. Even when I'm not, right? But rapid eye movement isn't just dreaming. When you sleep, especially when you're doing rapid eye movement, it's not just healing the body and reinvigorating and healing and all the things that you think about when you're sleeping. Rapid eye movement is about processing all the memories from the day and all the stressors from the day. And it releases that stress and it releases those memories. It lets you come down and tone down. For people that have depression or anxiety disorder, this is huge. And when you don't get enough sleep, or you get interrupted sleep, I'm not getting enough sleep, or it's sporadic. I get a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes here, maybe an hour here, maybe an hour here, but I'm not getting a solid 8 hours. That will mess with your REM sleep and your REM cycles, causing the stressors to build. That's why it gets worse. Now, having said that, there's 3 different kinds of interrupted sleep, which is what insomnia is. Early stage. I can't get to sleep. That's stage 1. I'm trying to get to sleep, but my brain won't shut up. I'm too hyped up. I'm too wired, and I can't get to sleep. That's actually the easiest kind to deal with, and I'll show you how later. The next 2 aren't conscious. It's not because you're thinking. It's unconscious because you got mid-cycle awakening. I was asleep for a couple of hours, then I pop awake, and I'm like, darn it, I was hoping I'd sleep through the night. You are literally unconscious. So what could possibly wake you up while you're unconscious? It would have to be an unconscious process. So repressed tension, it's like you're holding a balloon underwater. When you go to sleep in the middle, you relax and it bubbles to the surface and it wakes you up. Best analogy I can give you. Stage 3, early cycle awakening. So I got to sleep. I stayed asleep, but I wake up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours early, and then I'm pretty much done. Again, you were unconscious, and then you got woken early. That's another unconscious process. Harder to deal with because the unconscious mind is really deep inside your psyche and hard to get to, but we're going to show you some techniques to do it. It's slower to respond, but it does over time. So if you can survive things getting worse and worse, I'm going to show you some strategies to slowly make them better and better to solve those second 2 kinds of insomnia. Now, let's jump in and learn the specific techniques for how to beat insomnia. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this. Let's do it right now. Hey, if you're loving this content, go ahead and like and subscribe. I want you to get all my content. Also, look down through my homepage, see all my different videos, or look through my playlists and then grab the videos there. All free trainings for you. I want you to have all the tools and strategies you need to have a life second to none. Now, the next thing is make sure you watch this video all the way through to the end. You got to get all the tools and strategies. Don't say, oh, I'm just going to grab this one and thanks, Mr. Paul, and run off. A lot of these strategies, when one doesn't work, you go to the next one, the next one, the next one, or you stack the strategies, or they become synergistic when you use them together in new and creative ways that, hey, maybe even I haven't thought of yet. But it'll work great for you. You'll know which ones they are intuitively. Now, the first thing is what I call sleep hygiene, the basics of making sure you can get good sleep. And it starts with setting up the environment. So you set up you and you set up the environment. Let's look at the environment because that's an easy thing to kind of conceptualize. What should the room be like? The room should be pitch dark. If I go like this and I look at my hand, it should be so dark that I can't see it. Even one fraction of one candlelight, that would be enough light that I could see my hand in front of my face. That can go in through your eyelids and mess up your melatonin levels, your circadian rhythm levels. It'll mess up everything. So keep it nice and dark. Now, room temperature. You want it a little bit cooler because that signals your brain to produce melatonin and some other neurochemicals. And that'll get you in the proper state to go to sleep. So it should be cool enough that you need a little bit of a blanket over you. That's actually very comforting and also signals to your brain that you're supposed to be going to sleep. The light amount of cold, you might be just 1 degree off from what's completely comfortable for you. So you're just barely cool. I don't want you to be in that cold room. No, with that blanket, you're going to be fairly warm, but it's a little bit cooler. That'll trigger your body. Next thing is no distracting sounds. You want to get rid of everything except for nature sounds. Those are actually soothing and can help you sleep. Some people like to play nature sounds. It helps them go to sleep. For other people, it's disturbing. You know you. Try it. If it doesn't work, don't use it. If it works, keep using it. The mattress can't be too hard or too soft. You can't be like sleeping on your arm and then your arm falls asleep and then that wakes you up because the lack of blood flow causes your body to freak, your arm's dying off. I've done this many times. You wake up and your arm is numb and you can barely close your hand because you cut off the blood supply for the last 45 minutes and your body had to wake you up because it's like, hey, we're going to start going into cellular nerve death here. So that's a weird thing that can disturb sleep. So comfortable bed, dark room, no sounds, lightly cool, nice blanket on top of you, quiet in the room, or some nature sounds. Perfect. Now that's the environment. The next thing is your mental environment. You gotta decompress at the end of the day at least 10 to 20 minutes ahead of time. So put down the phone. The phone shoots blue light, which some studies, it's a little confusing in the literature, say that that keeps you up. I don't know if it does or doesn't, but the internet is designed as clickbait to be stimulating, get your mind racing a mile a minute. You're doom scrolling, going through all this anxiety and depression causing stuff. So whether blue light's an issue or not, shut it down. I know the brightness of the light, and because you're staring right at it, that cuts down the melatonin. So any way you slice it, the phone is your enemy. Get rid of it. I would say 20 minutes before you go to bed. The next thing is TV. TV is designed to be stimulating, just like the internet. And they're flashing all this stuff. I mean, if it was a boring TV show, it'd be off the air, right? I mean, aside from golf. So get rid of that an hour before time. Well, maybe at least 20 minutes. Hour's better if you can do it. Then go for a nice walk. It's repetitive, you're breathing, you're getting some exercise. Exercise on a daily basis has been shown to be equal to most psychotropic drugs for anxiety and depression. It seems to boost your serotonin levels about the same amount. Now, I'm not giving you any medical advice here. I'm not telling you go off your meds. I say, no. Continue to take your meds. This could be a supplement and make your meds work better and get you those feel-good chemicals in your brain and the proper neurotransmitters that you need. It's relaxing and it's repetitive, and it allows you to kind of think your thoughts, but slow down your thoughts because they'll start to pace with your steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what insomniacs do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thoughts are coming too quick. It'll start getting into the rhythm of your walking. Easy way to relax. Now, I hold my pants up with a black belt, so I like to do the meditation. People think meditation is this wild, spiritual, exotic thing. You know what it is? Breathe in, 1, 2, 3. Hold it, 1, 2, 3. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3. And think of just one thing. Think only pen. Stare at an object and make that your focus. Only think one thought at a time. Don't be thinking about 10 things at once. Really narrow it down. You're trying to de-stimulate yourself. If you're meditating and you're de-stimulating yourself, and here was the first meditation I ever did. Just close your eyes and try to calm your thoughts. And that's it. Do these things and your insomnia will get so much better. Now, the unconscious part of insomnia. You've got to interrupt your stress during the day. What you're doing is you're stacking stress, and then maybe at the end of the day, in desperation, you try to relax. Now, you should try to relax for at least a minute or two out of every hour, so that as the stress goes up, you knock it back down. As the stress goes up, you knock it back down. As the stress goes up, you knock it back down. Don't let it get to a level 9 or 10 and then try to knock it down partially and then go to bed. No, be knocking it down over and over again through the day. Now, these would be coping skills and relaxation skills. That'll be a whole nother training. Look through my playlist. You can probably find it there. If not, grab it from somebody else. The next thing, because you got to get into the unconscious levels, you can do meditation, and if you get really good at it and you're really focused, you can try to ask yourself what you're being stressed about, what you're repressing. It's repressed emotions that bubble up during the night. So you got to say, what am I avoiding? And what really bothers me that I'm not confused about? It's not hidden to me. I know it's a stressor, but I'm leaving it in my life. And remember, when you leave something in place that's stressful in your life, you're choosing it. The next thing is go directly for the unconscious. And this is the fastest, simplest, and easiest way to do it. Get a good self-hypnosis audio. So you can do it on your CD player, your MP3, your phone, whatever. You can play it on your computer and sit in the chair, whatever you want to do. But get that audio going in a way that's easy for you. A lot of people do it through their phone and their earbuds. That's a great way to do it. And let that run before you go to bed. Do that in that 10 to 20 minutes where you're trying to chill. And every single time you do it, these messages, these suggestions that help you to sleep and get rid of all this repression, they're slowly going to sink into the mind. So every single night's going to get a little bit better. I mean, there'll be ups and downs. It'll be like the stock market, but I'm talking about a general trend. That's the way to nail the insomnia. Now let's talk about the cognitive part, the thinking part of anxiety that's causing you to have insomnia. You know, where you're lying there in bed and you're thinking all your thoughts and you can't get to sleep. Here's an interesting piece of psychology. Here's the exact moment you fall asleep. When you can think nothing for about 3 seconds straight, you'll fall asleep. Your brain never shuts up. It loves to talk like a stream of consciousness. And people with anxiety and depression and insomnia, they go blah, 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 blah. They are so hyper in their thinking. That's why you got to calm it down. So a few things that you can do to stop all this hyper thinking. I mean, I've got a lot of information on this in my anxiety trainings, so check those out. But specific to insomnia, a lot of times it's the Zeigarnik effect, where if you don't complete something or you haven't got something done, it just bothers you until it's done. So you're thinking, hey, I've got like these 3 things that I got to do tomorrow, and if I forget them, oh my gosh, my life will be destroyed, or at least some bad things will happen. Write them down, grab a piece of paper and write them down and put them on your nightstand, and then you can take them out of your mind and just promise yourself to do them the next day. That works great. During that calming down stage, we talked about that 10 or 20 minutes before you go to bed, slow your thoughts down and tell yourself, there's nothing I can think about tonight that I can't spend the rest of my life thinking about. So promise yourself you're going to think about it, and your brain will let you off the hook, and you can think about it tomorrow. Great strategies. There's a million different ways you can kind of interrupt these thoughts. You got to get a little bit creative with it, but you have to stop that thinking. That's why I love the meditation, because it teaches you to think one thought and to let other thoughts go, and slows down the thinking. And eventually, if you get really good at it, you get in that spiritual space, which is simply what? No thoughts. You go from the one to the none. That's it. Now, a couple other caveats and then we'll wrap up the training. You always know, limit the caffeine. But people don't realize how soon you got to do it. I'm sitting here drinking my coffee. I go to bed about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm a night owl. So I've got to tick it back anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So that would be by, say, 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So somewhere between 7 and 9, I need to stop drinking the coffee. So do you. That's how long it takes for caffeine to get out of your system. The other thing is sugar. Sugar is a stimulant just like caffeine. So chocolate, sugar, coffee, any sweets, those types of things, get rid of them. Now, my mom used to like to have a glass of wine before she went to bed. It would help her sleep. Yes, it will help you sleep, but it'll be disturbed sleep. Alcohol is a toxin. It's an antiseptic. It kills everything that it touches, including the kind that you drink. So it'll be disturbed sleep. You're better off, getting a script from your doctor or taking, say, like a Tylenol PM, and then you can get some sleep. But it's not going to be that disturbed kind of sleep where your body's trying to repair all this damage, and it's just not as restful as it can be. So those are your tips. Grab them, use them. The more you use them, the stronger they get. What's going to happen is as you use these strategies, over time, you're going to get stronger and stronger, and your insomnia is going to get weaker and weaker. That's my wish for you. If you have any challenges, remember, always contact me in the comments below. We love to hear from you. And if you have any special insights, any strategies or tools or techniques that you like that we didn't mention here, please share them with the community down below. Thanks so much. I'm proud of you for tackling this and for all the great things you did today. My name is Professor Paul, and I'll see you in my very next training.